And we begin this morning with my breaking news. Sources telling me that President Biden is holding the Italian ambassador job open for Nancy Pelosi, which is one reason he has yet to fill the role since taking office. A Pelosi ally and former Wall Street executive wanted the job, but that plan has shifted as it becomes increasingly likely that the Republicans will take the majority in November. No word on how a new Senate will react to the Pelosi nomination, but there was mixed reaction to her in this role from the sources I spoke with this week. So far, 101 Biden ambassador nominees have been confirmed by the Senate, but Biden has been slow to name ambassadors to several countries, including Italy. About a quarter of the 194 ambassador positions are currently without a Senate-confirmed official, including Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, India, Brazil, Ukraine, among others. Presidents typically reserve ambassador posts in the most desirable locations for the people who have helped propel them to the White House, such as political operatives and important donors. The ambassador's residence, Villa Taverna, boasts a pool, a private garden, and a 3-story wine cellar in Rome. We reached out to Speaker Pelosi's office for comment, but have not heard back. Joining the conversation all morning long this morning is Fox Business's Dagen, McDowell, and Fraternal Order of Police National Vice President Joe Gamaldi. Great to see everybody this morning. Welcome. Thanks very much for being here. And Dagen, this would be an incredibly elegant move for Nancy Pelosi, going from Speaker of the House to keep her foot in the door, becoming the U.S. ambassador to Italy. I'm told she wants the job, and Joe Biden is saving the seat for her. We'll have to wait and see. The office of Nancy Pelosi has not gotten back to me on it. Your reaction?
This would still be a way of, as they would say in Italian, if my memory serves, condurre Pelosi al pascolo, which is putting Pelosi out to pasture. It would be an elegant way of moving out of being Speaker of the House if indeed the Democrats get shellacked in November, as many expect. Italy, but it is curious that this position has remained open. Italy is the only G7 country that still doesn't have a full ambassador imposed, a country that certainly needs U.S. representation on the ground at Villa Taverna. And there's been some speculation in Washington about this for at least maybe the last 6 weeks, because remember those bathing suit photos of Nancy Pelosi over the summer? I know that the audience has probably tried to scrub those from memory, but she took her family to Forte dei Marmi on vacation in Italy. I believe it was in July. And so that's when the speculation really picked up steam, that why would she be vacationing in Italy, and when she can go to, well, her home up in the wine country where her husband got a DUI.
Well, she does have Italian heritage, right. And she did visit with the Pope when she went to Italy earlier this year. My sources tell me that the Speaker has spoken with the President about this role, and President Biden is holding the spot for Nancy Pelosi and will likely make that nomination sometime at the end of the year, and she will likely accept. We'll see what the Senate has to say about this. Joe, we're still trying to understand how the Senate changes past November and whether or not she will get easily confirmed to become the U.S. ambassador to Italy. She'd have to live in Rome, but this is certainly what my sources are telling me she's ready to do.
Well, I certainly, as an Italian-American, I hope she doesn't get this spot. But, over the years, you learn not to underestimate Nancy Pelosi. She's managed to stay in power for 36 years. But I'm sure her and her husband, Paul, are going to absolutely love the wine scene in Italy. I mean, I heard it's great. But, this just goes to show you what's going on in this country. We don't even know what's going to happen in the midterms in the next few months. I mean, it looks like Republicans are absolutely going to take back the House, maybe 15 to 20 seats. And it's going to really depend on whether or not they take the Senate, which is looking more promising as the days go on. But I think we have to look at what is the impact that President Biden calling half the country semi-fascist and extremists are going to have on the midterm elections right now. I mean, I don't know who thought that was a good idea, sitting around the round table saying, let's call half the country terrorists. I'm sure that's going to bring everybody over to our side. And that's why independents are disapproving of the job President Biden is doing to the tune of 65%. And the Democrats are going to wear that in the midterm elections. And I think another thing that we need to consider is just how pissed off the the American public is about the loan forgiveness that we're seeing for college students. I mean, listen, we all paid our student loans back, and now you're expecting us to pay someone else's loans back? That's not going to play well with voters, especially when we're seeing a 40-year high in inflation. People are making decisions at the gas pumps and in the grocery store about what groceries they're going to buy. And the worst part, Maria, is it doesn't even fix the problem. I mean, tuition costs are up 169% since 1980. This does nothing to fix that. It doesn't stop the predatory lending process. And you know what? We know what motivates people in midterm elections, and that's anger. And the American people are pissed off about this to the tune of $1 trillion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And let me say that this from the so-called unifier-in-chief who continues to attack half the country. We are just getting started this morning.